Julius Thomas was introduced in Jacksonville yesterday, held a news conference, and had some interesting things to say. In fact, let's take a look at the graphic, at one of the quotes from Julius Thomas at yesterday's news conference. The question posed to him was, did Peyton Manning make you the tight end you are today? And his answer was, if you ask me or Peyton, we wouldn't say the reason I was able to accomplish what I did was all because of Peyton. I'm sure he doesn't feel that way, and I don't feel that way.
Shannon Sharp told us a couple of days ago that John Elway made him. Guess what, Julius Thomas? Peyton Manning made you. If Brock Osweiler had been thrown to Julius Thomas, he wouldn't be signing $9 million contracts.
Or
That's
Tim
not
Tebow.
a put down of Brock. Yeah, Decker didn't get a big contract till Peyton got here. He didn't get a contract till he was actually
Well, ask
healthy.
yourself this. How good was Eric Decker when Tim Tebow was thrown to him? How good was Demaryius Thomas when Tim Tebow... They weren't Pro Bowl receivers at that point. But Peyton came in, and it wasn't just about Peyton throwing a more accurate ball than Tim Tebow. It was about Peyton working with these guys, teaching them how to run routes, teaching them timing, taking them down to Duke in the offseason, and practicing with them an extra week without any coaches, and just getting on the same page with them, developing chemistry. Look, I'm not going to give 100% of the credit to Peyton Manning for making Julius Thomas a great player. Julius Thomas worked hard at it. And Julius Thomas, who had a very steep learning curve coming out of college because he was a basketball player in college, worked hard to learn how to play the game and helped make himself a Pro Bowl tight end. But without Peyton Manning, I don't know that he's a Pro Bowl tight end. I don't know that he catches 30 passes a season.
And I'm happy that, if he's happy, I'm happy for him and his father. It moved on. He will not have the numbers ever again that he had here.
No.
But what he always had was great hands.
Oh, yeah.
And he will always have great hands. He catches the football. That's what they saw in him when he played briefly in college. That's what they saw with him in that first camp. And you were out there all the time. You saw it. That he didn't have clues. So, on the way out, Julius, you should have put it practically all on Peyton Manning. You have talent. You have great hands. You have the right size, the right speed. But you wouldn't be in this situation without Peyton because Peyton taught you how to be a football receiver. Because of your work with Peyton Manning, and it wasn't because of the tight end coach or Adam Gase. Adam Gase was never a tight end. It was because Peyton Manning, who's in that photo right there, said, "Okay, kid, you stick with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn you into something."
He taught him.
And why in the hell don't you? Oh yeah, you got enough time. You got your money. You got enough time to talk about your career and how great you are. Why not, on the way out of the door, say, Peyton really was responsible? His quote again, if you ask me or Peyton, well, he doesn't know what Peyton would say. If you ask me or Peyton, we wouldn't say the reason I was able to accomplish what I did was all because of Peyton. Well, a majority of it was because of Peyton. I'm sure he doesn't feel that way, and I don't feel that way either. I think that if you gathered Peyton Manning out at his house today and said, "Yeah, tell me the truth," he would say, "I made him like I've made all these other receivers."
Well,
but he wouldn't say that because he's not that type of guy.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story about Julius Thomas. When Peyton Manning first came into the building 4 years ago, Peyton walked up to Julius Thomas, who was a nobody at that point.
Yeah.
He was a draft pick who couldn't stay on the field because he had ankle problems. He was not a Pro Bowl receiver yet. He couldn't even get on the field. Peyton went up to Julius Thomas and said, "You're Julius Thomas, aren't you?" And Julius was taken aback and called him Mr. Manning at the time, by the way, and said, "Yeah, I am." And Peyton said, "I'm Peyton Manning, and I'm going to be in town for the next week. When and where do you want to start throwing?" That's who got Julius Thomas onto the field.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's why. He said some complimentary things about being with the Broncos, which he should have said. I think he should have probably been stronger about the influence that Peyton Manning had on him, just as he's had on so many. You could list, Pierre Garçon. Nobody had ever heard of him.
Yeah, Anthony Gonzalez.
I talked to him at the Super Bowl one year, and he said, I was floundering about trying to figure out. if I was going to make it in the NFL, and he turned him into Peyton Manning turned him into Pro Bowler. Yeah, you mold. It's like clay. You mold that clay and turn it into a sculpture, and that's what Peyton does with this, because Jay Cutler doesn't do it.
No.
You know, and okay, why are you making that comparison? I'm giving opposite ends of the spectrum.
Two highly paid quarterbacks in this league.
Jay Cutler didn't make anybody a better receiver.
No.
He didn't spend time with them. He'd show up for, off-season training sessions and throw to them, and that was the end of it. You know this better than anybody, certainly better than me. Every day after practice, Peyton will keep those guys around.
Yep.
We talked about going to
Emmanuel Sanders and Cody Latimer after practice almost every day
he
this year.
doesn't have to do that. You think that guys in other places, and you go, well, yeah, Drew Brees probably does. Yeah, that's why they're great quarterbacks. That Tom Brady does that.
Yeah.
People like Jay Cutler will never be any good because they don't do that. Kyle Orton, when he was here, the moment the bell sounded, the horn, and they had that little session at the end, he was out of the building and on the golf course.
Yep.
I mean, he wasn't throwing with people.
I don't want it to sound like we're bashing Julius Thomas.
No,
he had a couple of really great years here.
He did. Jay Cutler.
He did. Julius Thomas did say thank you to everybody in a message.
He was complimentary.
In a message on a website, and he did say he acknowledged the quarterback who threw me perfect pass after perfect pass. So he knows.
But
he
it
knows
was more than that. It was showing him, Peyton showing him, when this route breaks down, here's where you turn it in. And he would say to him, who became his most effective receiver in the red zone, he would say to him, okay, he would talk to him about quarterbacks, because Julius Thomas didn't recognize defenses, and he'd say, if you see this, how did the quarterback do this? It simplified it for him. And I mean, it's not that he's stupid. I'm just saying he was a basketball player who was converted to being a football player. And he'd say, if you see this, go this way. If you see this, because we would talk about it. And I mean, Juice Thomas got open because he recognized, because of what Peyton had told him, what to do in situations.